first of all, I think as a Gambian, as a journalist, okay, we as a country, we I don't know, we are at a very crucial crossroads here. This fight between APRC and UDP is drawing us far, far back in terms of a political transition. And I tend to tell people that the Gambia is bigger than APRC and, sorry,
NPP. I think I was going to say APRC, NPP.
No, I probably am thinking I'm still in 2014 or so, not in 2024. So, yeah, you excuse me. The Gambia is actually bigger than the UDP and the NPP. And there are differences. The constitution actually is a reflection of what the Gambian people want, our aspirations for a new Gambia. Okay. So that being said, I personally, I think this issue of the constitution is what led to, let's say, my fallout with Adama Barrow, and his government. I would say.
Did you also have a fallout?
Well, I want to call it a fallout because I couldn't keep my opinion when the constitution was rejected at the assembly. Even though I work in the state house, I openly spoke against that. It was wrong, totally.
Are you telling us the reason for your departure from State House?
No, I'm not telling you that.
Breaking news.
I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that.
Okay.
Because when I got disappointed in the system, I don't think there is any reason for me to stay serving that system anymore. You understand?
I know.
And at the time, this was not even NPP because at the time there was no NPP.
Yeah, there wasn't.
It was only President Barrow and the coalition government. So I'm telling you where things start falling apart for the coalition. In my view, even the political transition. Because looking at it fundamentally, once the constitution is not in place as the basis for the transition or the political transition, it means we are just going in circles. We are not making any headway. If we want to come in here making these multitudes of amendments, enactments of laws, and we still live in the most fundamental part of this legislative process, which is the constitution, then we are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
The reason why we're talking about the IEC or the electoral reforms, we're talking about the civil service reform, the security sector reform, all of these things are captured in the new draft constitution. Talking about public administration, the role of the chiefs, the role of the alcalis, the women councillors, the representation, like at the level of the National Assembly, electing the president. So I think what is at stake in the new constitution is bigger than just the president and his powers. What he ought to have and what he does not have to have. You understand? So we are looking at learning from the mistakes that we've had since 1965. We had a colonial government here. The nomination, a lot of people did not know that this idea of nomination actually came from the colonial legislative council. When the colonial governor at the time will make nominations in the assembly, areas that he felt or people felt probably are not properly represented or appropriately represented in the council. So the governor has that will to nominate people to go in so that they will have a very diverse kind of representation. But when you come to look at it, especially on the Jammeh, we have seen that that nomination process lost its value.
Of course.
Jammeh will only nominate people who are 100% loyal to him. In fact, he will handpick them from within the APRC to add on to his numbers. They will also come and with powers that, for example, you need to choose the speaker and the deputy speaker from among those nominees. So you, by extension, we are just making the National Assembly, or we are just making it an extension of the executive. The National Assembly wasn't able to play that oversight function over the executive under the 1997 Constitution. Yeah. Is that what we want for ourselves? Is that what we want for the future of the Gambia? I think the never against slogan is not only for the TRRC. It starts with this constitution. If we don't want a repetition of Jammeh, we don't want a repetition of the PPP's 30 years kind of rule, we better start thinking properly and make the right moves. Because we never know. Look around West Africa, what is happening? We are seeing militaries taking over governments. I'm not saying that I pray that to happen in the Gambia. But when you get push people against the wall, anything could happen. People can go on the street and it will be a total mess for the country. All the girls that we have registered since 2017 could just go like that in thin air. Come on, let's take this seriously for once. What do we want out of a new Gambia? Why are we not taking these things seriously? For me, this is what I don't tend to understand.